is Classic FM.
If we may talk about Mariinsky, big changes occurring there. You're back in St. Petersburg over December, once you've finished your work with the LSO this month. Firstly, is it difficult to juggle the two, because they're very senior roles? And secondly, I'm interested in your thoughts about the developments and the extension there to Mariinsky, dubbed Mariinsky 2.
Mariinsky has much more dramatic story, simply because I started talking about me and Mariinsky. I started as general music director or principal conductor, whatever you, artistic director, whatever you choose, whatever you call it. In 1988, I lived in Soviet Union. City was called Leningrad. The theater was called Kirov, named after Sergei Kirov, prominent Bolshevik. People say he was a very good man. He was murdered, he was killed in 1934. Now I live in Russia, in St. Petersburg. The theater is called Mariinsky. We built recently a new concert hall of fantastic quality. All my recordings with Mariinsky, except video, opera, ballet, but all symphonic are done, also concert opera, Parsifal or Don Quixote Massenet, Nose, Shostakovich, Oedipus Rex, Stravinsky, all recorded in this fantastic concert hall. So we built ourselves this hall for Mariinsky Orchestra and Chorus, for the singers, of course, and that took us few, well, not even few years. One can say months. So it was incredible, unique story. So this is done. Now, in 5 months from now, or even less, we will open another opera house. We call it second stage, but it's not just stage. It's a opera house, big, very spacey. We hope it will be very beautiful. We also hope it will be sounding very well. And
I'd imagine you played quite a big role then in assessing the acoustics and planning it.
Even I want to be modest, I have to say yes, and I want to be modest. For the concert hall, I was raising money together with our great friends, my great friends, and we did it very quickly and very successfully. With a theater, new theater, state is building it. So I was absolutely relieved of any obligations to raise money. It may start soon that for activities we will have to go on and seek sponsorships and partnerships and all sorts of support. But to build, to create this opera house, state, why Russians do it, why Chinese do it, because again, comparing London to Beijing, you will find out that London, although experienced difficult years in the Second World War, of course, there were difficulties for everybody in Europe. It's something to do with Nazis, something to do with the big flames of this huge Second World War. But then it was relatively stable. Soviet Union or China, they were doing this, it was ups and downs, and it seems now both countries can. Why I compare China and Russia? I was a few times in China in the last 2 years, 3-4 times, both with Mariinsky and London Symphony, and of course I can see the changes. They're building new halls, they're building new opera houses. I just told you we built new hall and new opera house in the distance of a few years. It's not even one city, it's just one organization. It's quite unique. And of course, please remember, we have one of the most beautiful venues, which is called Mariinsky Theater 1, which means historical one. It's a very, very beautiful theater, fantastic acoustic. Everything is great about this. So
very different in design as well to the
it's
second.
1860. It's built 150 years ago. Very European, very beautiful, and very rich. I mean, you can easily compare this theater to any historical opera house, and you will have a trouble to say which one will be more beautiful or more to your liking. But there's very few theaters like Palais Garnier in Paris or Wiener Staatsoper or Semper Opera in Dresden, of course. These are legendary opera houses. There are maybe 5, maybe 6 on earth, Royal Opera House, of course, one of them. And I think they are very precious, and we all hope and we have to do maximum to not only preserve, but also to continue the musical, artistic qualities, simply musical life in these fortresses of culture, continues to give an exemplary leadership to all world of ballet and opera. I mean all, from Brazil to Argentina to New Zealand to Finland to South Africa, because I think this will be seen always. No matter which architect will come and build new opera house in China or in South Africa or in Argentina, this will be leading opera houses, leading venues, institutions, legends, La Scala and so on. So it's clear to me.
The two buildings contrast greatly. The reason I brought that up was because often your pieces, you choose pieces that contrast greatly. Are you a man that's a fan of contrast?
I hate repetition. My understanding of classical music is that next second brings development, even if just continued long note. But if you continue for 5 seconds, you are in one mood. Do it for 50 seconds, you are in a hysterically different mood. So it's a living time factor is so important. And my work with musicians, I rarely interfere in a technical, although sometimes I would insist, please play it this way only and not differently. I like, in many compositions, unanimous approach is very important, especially in the classical. And then your conductor has to insist sometimes, where imagination and fantasy and coloration can be very much of the work of conductor with orchestra rather than orchestra in one, let's say, space, conductor is in another space, and they just do something what clearly is two different things. Orchestra is playing, conductor is moving his hands. This is not what I myself want or wanted ever to do, and I will sometimes work even maybe extended period of time or amount of time devoted to, so to say, little detail. Unless this detail is shaped, I don't want to continue, because then it loses for me not all but part of excitement, and also part of the satisfaction that you feel that it's going to be interesting to hear this tonight or tomorrow when we play it for the public, because it starts to look so promising, it starts to sound so interesting. So, because I think if I am not totally interested, I suspect a lot of people will be not interested as well.
It's a fair yardstick, yes.
Yeah, it's very simple thing. And I don't expect 2,000 conductors to come to the concert, but you expect everyone in the hall to be musical, interested, wants to be excited, wants to have huge impression, because composer, first of all, composer promises a lot. Orchestra, conductor, they have to bring something. Why people should spend sometimes 2-3 hours in the traffic of London or Moscow just to go to the concert. It's annoying sometimes. We even came here, took us nearly 1 hour. So, so it's a responsibility for conductor.